Elias stared intently at his flickering brokerage screen, his entire capital consisting of one $50 bill. This meager sum was deposited into a high-leverage micro account, representing his last hope for financial freedom. The dream of turning this small amount into a full-time income felt like a desperate gamble. He watched the screen, fighting against the cold, unyielding mechanics of the global financial market today. He chose a highly volatile tech stock, waiting patiently for the precise moment of a breakout. His goal was to deploy his limited buying power with aggressive leverage at the perfect time. Each tick of the digital chart felt like a frantic heartbeat pulsing within his own chest. The pressure mounted steadily as he navigated the narrow margin between total liquidation and exponential growth. He knew that one single misstep would instantly wipe out his entire modest trading account balance. Sweat beaded on his forehead while he analyzed the shifting candlestick patterns with intense, focused concentration. He executed his strategy with surgical precision, scalping small, incremental profits from the volatile price action. Every move was calculated to avoid the catastrophic losses that typically claim such small, fragile accounts. He meticulously managed his risk, refusing to let greed cloud his judgment during the trading session. The market surged upward, and he held his position, trusting the mathematical models he had built. Hours bled into days, with Elias remaining glued to the glowing monitor, watching every minor fluctuation. The psychological strain was immense, yet he remained disciplined, sticking strictly to his pre-planned exit strategy. He ignored the siren call of over-leveraging, knowing that consistency was the true key to success. By the end of the first week, the initial $50 had finally doubled in total value. This small victory proved that his mathematical approach to scaling could survive the initial market gauntlet. He had successfully navigated the intense volatility and psychological strain that breaks most aspiring day traders. The screen now reflected a glimmer of hope, validating the hours of research and sleepless nights. He leaned back in his chair, exhaling a long, shaky breath as the market finally closed. The $50 was no longer just pocket change. It was the foundation of his future. He looked at the balance, feeling a surge of quiet confidence replace his earlier, gnawing desperation. The journey was only beginning, but he had survived the first, most dangerous test of all. He studied the charts again, looking for patterns that might repeat in the coming morning session. The room felt silent, save for the hum of his computer fan cooling the overworked processor. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges and even greater risks to his growing capital. His eyes scanned the historical data, searching for the subtle clues hidden within the price action. Every decision he made now carried the weight of his previous success and his future goals. He adjusted his stop-loss parameters, ensuring that even a sudden market reversal would not destroy him. The discipline required for this path was far greater than he had ever anticipated before starting. He sipped cold coffee, his mind racing with possibilities for the next day's high-probability trade setups. The screen glowed with blue light, illuminating the tired lines etched deep into his weary face. He felt a strange kinship with the market, as if the chaos held a hidden order. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to strike the moment the conditions aligned perfectly again. He reminded himself that patience was a weapon, one he had to wield with absolute, cold-blooded care. The chart shifted, forming a classic consolidation pattern that signaled a potential move was drawing near. He took a deep breath, centering his focus to block out the lingering doubts of yesterday. The market opened with a sharp spike, testing his resolve before settling into a predictable rhythm. He entered the trade, his heart rate steady despite the rapid movement of the price candles. The profit margin widened, and he watched the numbers climb with a sense of detached satisfaction. He did not celebrate, knowing that the market could turn against him in a single heartbeat. He tightened his grip on the mouse, ready to exit the moment his target was reached. The target was hit, and he closed the position, locking in the gains with mechanical efficiency. His balance grew again, moving closer to the threshold where he could finally increase his size. He felt the weight of the world lift slightly, replaced by a growing sense of capability. The path to financial independence was long, but he was finally making tangible, measurable, daily progress. He closed the trading platform, needing a moment to reset his mind for the next cycle. The screen went black, leaving him in the soft shadows of his small, dimly lit apartment. He stood up and stretched, feeling the physical toll of his intense, unwavering focus on trading. Outside, the city lights flickered, mirroring the digital dance of the markets he had just conquered. He knew that tomorrow would require the same level of commitment and the same sharp discipline. There was no room for error, yet he felt ready to face whatever the market offered. His confidence had shifted from a fragile hope into a solid, tested belief in his system. He walked to the window, watching the world move on while he prepared for his future. The $50 had grown, and with it his resolve to master the art of trading. He turned back to the desk, already thinking about the technical indicators for the next session. The cycle of growth was established, and he was determined to ride it to the end. He sat down once more, ready to begin the next chapter of his relentless, calculated journey. With his capital base now expanded, Elias shifted from survival mode to a systematic scaling strategy, reinvesting his hard-won gains to capture larger, more significant price movements across the volatile market landscape. The transition from a fragile micro account to a substantial, robust portfolio required immense, unwavering personal discipline, as he resisted the dangerous urge to over-leverage his positions, despite the growing temptation of larger, more enticing potential payouts that flickered across his glowing monitor like sirens calling him to ruin. He refined his technical analysis, focusing exclusively on high-probability setups that allowed him to compound his returns steadily without exposing his entire livelihood to the crushing weight of a single bad trade. Months of grueling screen time transformed his initial $50 gamble into a consistent engine of revenue, eventually reaching the elusive threshold of a full-time income that he had once only dared imagine. He had successfully navigated the treacherous, winding path from a mere novice clutching pocket change to a professional day trader who commanded his own financial destiny with a cool, detached, and analytical precision that left little room for the chaotic whims of the market to dictate his success. The screen no longer represented a desperate, frantic struggle for survival against the cold, unyielding mechanics of the trading floor, but instead stood as a testament to the power of calculated risk. Strategic patience had become his greatest asset, replacing the impulsive anxiety that once fueled his early attempts at wealth creation, while the relentless pursuit of financial independence drove him forward every day. He watched the candles form with a calm detachment, knowing that his system was built upon a foundation of rigorous testing and the hard-learned lessons of his early, precarious days of trading. The numbers on the screen shifted, reflecting the culmination of his efforts. Yet, he remained focused, never allowing the comfort of his current success to breed the complacency that destroys great traders. Every trade was a deliberate action, a calculated move in a game he had finally mastered, proving that even the smallest spark of capital could ignite a fire of lasting financial freedom. He closed his laptop, the soft click echoing in the quiet room, signaling the end of another productive day where his strategy had once again triumphed over the noise of the market. Outside, the world moved on, indifferent to the silent victories he achieved within the digital realm. But for Elias, the transformation was complete, marking the end of his long and arduous ascent. He looked at his reflection in the dark glass, seeing not a gambler, but a professional. The $50 were a distant memory, a seed that had grown into a sturdy tree. He walked toward the window, watching the city lights flicker, mirroring the charts he knew well. His journey was a testament to the fact that persistence and logic could overcome any odds. The market remained a beast, but he had learned to ride its waves with perfect balance. He felt a sense of peace, knowing that his future was secured by his own hand. The discipline he cultivated would serve him well in all aspects of his life moving forward. He took a deep breath, savoring the quiet satisfaction of a goal finally and truly achieved. The screen remained dark, a silent witness to the evolution of a man and his capital. He had turned the impossible into the routine, a feat that defined his new professional identity. There were no more shortcuts, only the steady climb that he had mastered through sheer grit. He sat back in his chair, reflecting on the path that had led him to here. It was a journey of small steps, each one deliberate and necessary for the final outcome. He had learned that the market rewards the patient and punishes the reckless without any mercy. His strategy was his shield, and his patience was his sword in this digital financial arena. He was ready for whatever the next trading day would bring, confident in his own abilities. The room felt different now, filled with the quiet confidence of a man who had succeeded. He had proven to himself that he could survive the gauntlet and emerge stronger than before. The $50 were gone, replaced by a portfolio that represented his dedication and his skill. He looked at the clock, noting the time, and prepared to step away from the desk. The market would be there tomorrow, but for now, he had earned his rest in peace. He stood up, stretching his limbs, feeling the weight of the day lift from his shoulders. The transition was complete, and he was ready to embrace the life he had built today. He walked out of the room, leaving the screen behind, a monument to his own success. The house was quiet, a stark contrast to the intensity of the hours spent at work. He felt a profound sense of gratitude for the lessons the market had taught him daily. Every loss had been a teacher, and every win had been a confirmation of his path. He was a different man than the one who started with that single $50 bill. The journey had been long, but every moment of it had been worth the immense effort. He looked forward to the future, knowing that he had the tools to handle any challenge. The ascent was over, but the climb toward even greater heights was only just beginning now. He smiled to himself, satisfied with the life he had forged through his own sheer determination. The night air was cool as he opened the window, breathing in the scent of change. He was finally free, a master of his own destiny in a world of endless possibilities.